I mean, Infused, we knew they're good players, but that was it. It's good players, not good team.
So the next game we've got coming up, it's a bit of a nothing match in a way. It's a shame because obviously with the rules being...
Actually, it isn't.
No, it is. We've established
this.
this.
Oh, really?
Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely is. We had a rule clarification while we were casting.
Right. That's because that's the point I was going to ask for.
Yeah, so it will go on head-to-head. So VWS, it's impossible for them to claim second place in this match that's coming up against HyperGames.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
so that was the debate I think we had just before. We were talking about, 6 would put them same map difference, but unfortunately...
I was hoping for another one-and-done situation. That would have been awesome. Like having that to wrap up, that would have been the best.
Yeah, it would have been. But unfortunately, not to be the case. But that isn't to say that VWS won't be gunning to put in a comprehensive performance here, because obviously they're one of the teams who've said we're sticking together. Not like our friend Brandon there, who seemed somewhat dejected despite winning. VWS has said, we've got a future, and they're going to want to show that they are going to be a big presence in the UK scene.
I genuinely think they profited due to the time they put in as a team and as an organisation, and how much practice they've gelled together rather than trying to force things to work. And if they haven't necessarily worked, they've actually spent time to fix those problems. And for me, that's why teams like them and Spirit Gaming have actually come out profitable in this season.
Yeah, I agree with you here. For me, I think, Richard's point, actually, VWS, this is not a game, obviously, they're playing for anything. What they are playing for is to... Well, think about it. If they 6-0 this team, technically they're tied with Vitality, and that's something they can claim, that they lost on a head-to-head, whereas they have beaten teams, before. And
an online component of the head-to-head as well, not a LAN head-to-head.
So, that's, very important in this scenario. So you've got to be asking yourself, they're probably still going to be very fired up. HyperGames, for them, this is more of a, we've had a terrible, terrible tournament, terrible, terrible league. Can we actually do something worthwhile now against VWS?
It was a shame for VWS as well, because the game they lost to Vitality, they didn't play particularly well. Like, it was at times it was really scrappy, and there were moments of really questionable decisions. I think it was just one of those days out at the ball game. It wasn't going their way, and their heads weren't really in the game. And they could have easily turned that one round, and I was a bit surprised they didn't get anything out of that, because there were large parts of it that I thought, you know what, they're definitely going to get at least a draw here. They could easily do it. They've got the firepower, they've got the talent. And Vitality are not really full firing at the moment. And unfortunately, a couple of things didn't go their way, and they got unlucky. But having said that, they put a tremendous performance in, considering they were literally 1 point away from relegation last season.
Yeah, so like I said, although it's a nothing game, I think pride is the key here.
Yeah.
It is a prideful game. Well, this game is probably worth more than the game after this, which is Millennium IGI. Which,
oh yeah, definitely.
IGI aren't playing for pride because they have none, and Millennium aren't playing for anything because they have everything. So it's that game is at least this game there's the kind of HyperGames kind of want to show that they can do something after losing quite badly to Spirit in the end, and against VWS want to go, technically we tied with Vitality, so there's a pride thing for them there. So this could be, quite a fired up game, and I expect both teams to actually play this at full capacity.
Yeah, I suppose on the one hand, you could maybe imagine a crazy scenario where IGI beat Millennium, since Millennium have made it abundantly clear that they're not really going to try all that much, because, why would they? Why would they expend the effort? And, of course, that would mean if HyperGames lost this match, then IGI could get off the bottom.
Yeah, they could, but that's one of those annoying scenarios that HyperGames probably sitting there going, we've done really well this league. Yeah, well, we've done better than IGI, because Millennium aren't firing at all.
Right at the end. Yeah,
because they're not firing at all capacity. Because let's face it, if you are Millennium, you're going to be sitting there at the end of the day going, we won yesterday. We won yesterday. We've now had to wait all day to play this game. And admittedly, as much as they love playing Call of Duty, if this was a game against a team that was more their level, one of the top 4, they'd probably be thinking, good practice, good LAN practice, let's get into it. But because it's IGI, and IGI have, struggled to win a map in 7 games, they're probably not that worried about it. If they could, they'd have a B team coming in.
Yeah. So I guess there isn't a scenario then where you can imagine a HyperGames victory here.
No, I think for me, VWS they're going to want to prove a point to Vitality. I could imagine it getting to a point where it's 4-0 to VWS. They've secured the win regardless. They've done their job. and then maybe they get a bit reckless on some search and destroys. Maybe some things they wouldn't have normally done in an important game, they might throw away, and HyperGames might be able to nick a map there and then. And I think you'll probably see another similar situation with Millennium IGI. Millennium might not even give it 100%, still get the 4-0 over them, and then the last 2 maps basically doss about, because they'll still protect their undefeated streak. And I think, although it probably doesn't matter whether they lost that game or not to them, but internally they'll probably want to at least still keep the win.
I agree in parts to what you just said. I agree with the basis of the conclusion you came at the end there. I do think, HyperGames have the ability to nick a map without VWS taking the throttle off. I think both teams going head-to-head, HyperGames do have that chance to take a map, potentially 2. If they take 2, obviously VWS will not take the brakes off at all. But, I think, they're definitely going to be, at one point I expect to see the scoreline 4-1, and then if it goes 5-1 or, 4-2, it doesn't really matter either way, but that's kind of what I expect to see. Yeah, maybe VWS towards the end will go, it's our last game. Doesn't mean anything, does it? It's just, play around or have a bit of fun in this one. But yeah, I think to begin with, you are right. This is going to be full throttle all the way. I suspect HyperGames may sneak a map somewhere from these guys. They are still a very talented squad. Not the best performance here this weekend.
So can I nail you both down to score lines?
Yeah, 5-1 VWS.
4-2. VWS.
All right then, boys. Nice and quick and easy. And that means we can get into the game. That's the way we like it. We want to watch these matches. I'm all geared up for this Millennium IGI. I'm not going to lie. This is going to be high comedy.
Well, I heard you're playing in it now. I think one of the game guys has gone home.
Yeah, Reedy asked me to fill in for him, mate. Anyway, without any further ado, we're going to get into the game. So we're going to throw over to our casters now. Let's enjoy it.
Thank you, and yes, welcome back to the Season 2 European Pro League Finals. It is down to the penultimate game here. HyperGames going head-to-head against VWS. The final placements in the league are all but decided, as the analysis was saying there. The only thing that can really switch about now is IGI and HyperGames for the 7th, 8th placement, but it doesn't really matter all that much.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I guess it's more of a confidence thing. You don't want to finish at the very bottom of the Premier League here.
No,
so
I mean, they didn't win a game, so I don't know what confidence they can really take away from it. I can't see them beating Millennium. Well, no, it still won't happen.
You see, I'm under the impression, because, as I say, the pressure's off for both of them. The final placements are already established that matter. I think it's going to be a very relaxed game, and I think we're probably going to see maybe snipers introduced. This is kind of the feeling that I'm getting, and it's a completely different ball game. It's going to be a bit of fun. It's going to be nice to finish off the stream with the best against the worst. Sorry, IGI. Just based on standings. That's all I mean. So yeah, it'd be great to finish that.
No, you're right. They are the worst.
They are okay. I'm trying to be nice about it, but let's just state the facts. But yeah, VWS HG is the game I've got coming up here. VWS actually, I would say probably the most impressive team for me in the league. Not they've not finished first, obviously, but in terms of what I would expect them to do.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think definitely somebody would have said that VWS may finish around like the mid. They might be teetering with relegation, but
yeah,
they've done really, really well. Look like a pretty solid team now, and I'm expecting a pretty confident win here against HyperGames.
All right, well, there we go, and it's going to be HyperGames who are setting up in the alternative booth there. Smiles all around, and as I say, they're well aware of the situation. They know that they're just playing for pride. Of course, there's a lot of people watching back home. HyperGames in particular will have a lot of fans, big French community, likely backing them watching this stream as well and hoping that they can perform. So they want to impress them. They want to do them some sort of justice here, and will, of course, be seeking the win as much as VWS will.
Definitely, it is for pride for them at the moment, and they've got, realistically, HyperGames do actually have it in their arsenal to cause an upset here, I feel like. I mean, we have a look at the maps, which are on your screen now. And it's, let's have it. This is HyperGames' choice. We're going to be doing hardpoint buy a little bit. I just think VWS will be far too much for them here. Far too much.
Maybe the case. And it's going to be Recovery S&D third there as well. Just added time to scribble that one down. But yes, Biolab Hardpoint, going to be the first map here. Of course, we are in the final set of rotation of maps, so we're going to see what these guys can produce. There is, of course, the preferred spawn on here, and let's see who that's going to be gifted to. And it looks like it's going to be going in favor of VWS. So they really need to make the most of this now. They should be able to get into into the vent circle area first and get the first few points on the board. Brain actually opting to go and provide support and fire straight away, pre-firing as soon as he vaulted on top.
Yeah, and a lot of grenades in it. And secondary grenades coming over the top there and doing a lot of work actually for HyperGames. 4 kills for them and not one. Well, I say that SunnyB does actually pick up a kill, and there you go, VWS get some kills on the board, but very well played by HyperGames to get some points on the board. But saying that, it has pretty much been all VWS after that short little stint where they got a lot of kills on the board, HyperGames, but risking 3-0 at the minute, managing to stay alive.
Yeah, HyperGames really done well actually to fight their way into this hardpoint area, secured some points, and you can see there Riskin and Veziok really uniting well. 8-2 combined kill-death ratio between them, so doing a great job. And HyperGames, as we say, looking to finish off this league with a little bit of pride, try and get another win under the belt. Yeah,
I think VWS will have something to say about that though, Rel. I mean, I'm still expecting VWS, even though they have not had the best of starts, to walk away with this one with 34-8. It's not unheard of, a couple of points to come in that first hard point, but there should be some kills on the board for SunnyB. At least he's just going to move away, and he's going to get taken out. The kill did go down. TonyJS taking down his own teammate, and Brain can do something there, but does get taken out, and HyperGames don't look bad here at all. Veziok, 8-3.
Yeah, they're putting up a really good show actually, and quite unexpected as well. I mean, we didn't make our own predictions on map count before this, but I was expecting maybe a 5-1 victory, something along those lines for VWS.
Yeah, VWS definitely doing
I think HyperGames might be able to sneak a map here and there, but definitely not be victors. So for me, it would be either a 5-1 or a 6-0. So to see this strong performance opening up from HyperGames is really, really good. They have just let the lead slip though now.
Well, VWS, let's see who gets this first rotation round of blue, and it is actually going to be VWS. And who's that over there? Is it Nolson?
Let's have a look and get on board. Yes, Nolson does go down, and we can see Veziok now securing this hard point, 10-5. Great showing from him. Who is this sneaky little rascal? It's going to be Mello. He's left all alone to try and contest this. One goes down, finds a second. Oh, and he's not going to be able to find a third. Really unfortunate there for Mello. It was actually Riskin who picked up that first kill.
Yeah, and you know, it seems as if VWS seems to be making clusters of kills here and there, and that may be what's going to benefit them in the end. TonyJS did pick up 2. Nolson Nelly picking up a really good 3-piece, does go down, but the rest of VWS clean up shop, and that's a few points on the board for them. And this hard point, they were behind just leading into that, and captured pretty much every single second on this one so far. If they keep that up, they'll be well into the lead. But this is one of those hard points where you really do need to get the early rotations in, and it just does not feel like VWS will contest it enough by HyperGames.
Yeah, and it certainly seems to be the case. You know, VWS just striding ahead. I'm pretty sure it was at the point where it was roughly 44-44. My point being, VWS have absolutely stormed ahead. They're not letting a single point drop now. They've set up well. A bit of a shaky start from them, but I expect to see this kind of performance here on in.
Well, moving over to the next one, and they are set up for that as well. So
yeah,
really, VWS always have the rotations down. Demo has some work to do here.
There we go. Oh, and he comes head-to-head with Veziok. Veziok somehow gets the better of him, though. Great play from the Frenchman. All of HyperGames still alive. Mello finds himself up top green, finds himself on the hard point, trying to rain fire, does pick up that kill, but sustains a lot of damage. Needs to get back on there, but it is going to go once again into the hands of VWS.
On board with Nolson, who's definitely been the most impressive player from VWS I've seen this weekend. I know SunnyB's played well a couple of times, as has Brain, and Damo's done some good stuff as well, but Nolson is such an explosive player. He can pull off those great kills that we do love to watch. You know, those 2 pieces, 3 pieces all over the place. And yeah, just an entertaining player to watch. He can put up the shots. He has a great shot, great awareness, great movement. He has everything to really make it in this scene, I believe.
Yeah.
But we'll see over the next year or two whether he can do that. But he's really introduced himself just over the last year and is doing very well. And his team are doing pretty well as well. 70 points to the good as we move into the last rotation of the hard point.
Okay, well, it's Brain, Demo, and Nolson. All 3 of those guys found themselves on there on this final hard point of the first rotation. SunnyB now with support, but it's an absolute massacre as Mello throws himself into the gunfight, and it's always the same on this hard point, Sunny. You always just get so many 1v1 little gun battles going on. There's no real way to defend externally, so it comes to a case where it's highly contested and battled internally.
Yeah, it really, you do need to get a hold of purple down the right-hand side, and if you can't get a hold of that, you can force the spawns in your advantage. And then you can actually lock it down, but Nolson has some work to do here, and not going to be able to do it. Veziok does shut him down, but Veziok on a bit of a tear there. 2 in a row for him, but Damo is going to come in there, clean things up. TonyJS just trying to stay alive. And the thing is with this one, I think it's pick a corner and wait until somebody peeks out somewhere, or get in purple. And if you can lock down every single entrance, then you can get some significant points off this point.
Yeah, seems to be the case. Here we go, though. It's just Tony, JS, and Brain. There's the one-to-one. Tony will come out on top. It didn't really matter, just a final point there. It is going to be HyperGames, though, that were quick on the rotation. HyperGames trying to fight their way back into this. Still a huge deficit to climb back from.
Yeah, it's pretty bad deficit, if I'm honest, especially at the halfway point. I mean, it was not a too bad start for HyperGames at the beginning there, but as it went on, VWS just seemed to be pulling away. MP11 out from Mello. He's going to be able to deal with that. Not a lot is the answer. Sunny B picks up a 3. Very well played by him. Veziok answering back with a 2-piece of his own, but Brain shuts that down.
Yeah, and here we go now. Nolson finds the kill there on the hard point, just jumping up and down. He's on it all alone, but he's in a great position to secure it even further. Another kill, and Nolson, I said this before, I've casted over VWS quite a bit of these finals, and he's been the standout player for me for VWS. You know, if I was to analyze each one of them, Damo's been consistent, Brain has been inconsistent, but that's worked in the favor sometimes. Sunny B is highly regarded anyway, but Nolson's kind of been that underdog player, the one that's, you know, he's doing his job, he gets the job done very effectively and doesn't really get the credit he deserves sometimes.
Yeah, I would definitely go ahead and say that he's probably the standout player. As I was saying before, VWS has really impressed me the whole weekend. Put up some good numbers, and yeah, he's on his way to being a very good player. But at this moment in time, they need to concentrate on this game. 167 to 85. That deficit has shortened just a little bit. HG potentially coming back into this, but it's going to be a bit of a tall order. I feel 3.5 minutes to go. There's no way that VWS are going to pick up a lot of points. Yeah, so
I mean, we always keep our eye on the clock and look at the point difference there. And whilst it is technically possible, we're always realistic about it, unless we saw one of the most ridiculous comebacks. I think the only time I saw a comeback of such huge margins, casting our mind way back to, I believe it was EGL 10, it was TCM going up against Aware or Horizon. I believe it was Horizon that they were playing under the time. And it was quite literally, it was something like 150 points without any break at all that Horizon brought back to win by 1 or 2 points. It was absolutely insane. A few guys watching this stream might know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you do. But apart from that, I've never seen a mammoth comeback when it's been this difference with this much time left.
No, it's not something that happens very often because of the hard point double-edged sword I like to talk about, which is the fact that you have to get so many of the scrap points if you're well behind, and then suddenly, because you're getting those scrap points, you're not getting on the rotations quick enough, and then the enemy team's there before you, and it's just an impossible task. I think once you're around 60 behind, it can be, well, 60 or over, and it can be curtains.
I mean, it's doable if it's initially, if it happens off maybe the first and second hard point, but when you get this late into the game, it's just, I mean, this game's going to finish at 250, and you can already see now VWS are closing in on that, just 30 points away. They're just going to keep the enemy team busy, and it is actually just ticking over that point now, where it is now mathematically impossible.
Well, there's 2 minutes left now, so 120 points, and yep, you are exactly right. I like how you did the maths there and didn't leave me to get it completely wrong. Oh yeah, mate, honestly, it's unbelievable. Anyway, Sunny B does get taken down, but that is definitely going to be the map going over to VWS, which is exactly what we expected. Can they finish this one early? They only have to get 9 more points. A few kills going to come in the board there for HyperGames, but it's not going to matter, unfortunately, for them. Brain picks up a couple of kills, and I agree with you on the inconsistency, actually. It's, as you said, excuse me, as is that he actually picked up 3 in the hard point. Riskin did very, very well there too. The game is all but over now. Excuse me, I actually have the hiccups.
It's all right, Tony.
It's very unfortunate.
Let me take it from here. As the final 5 points for VWS are going to be cleaned up here on top green. This map is going to end 250 points to 111. A huge victory there for VWS, over double the points. And I would say expected as well. I mean, we did see a really good initial push from HyperGames, actually. They actually broke the more difficult hard point off the spawn. So great play from them, and I was thinking to myself, you know what, maybe they've got a shot here, but slowly but surely VWS found the feet, got back into the game and ran away with it.
Yeah. And I want to touch on what I was trying to talk about before I forgot how to talk. Yeah, I agree on the Brain inconsistency. Some days he has actually put up a lot of kills, and that seems to be his primary role as the AR Slayer for the team. But there has been other times where he has been a little bit down the pecking order. But 30-23 from him, Nelson 38-24. Phenomenal play by him. A lot of defense as well. And yeah, you look at that HyperGames team and just let down a little bit there by Mello, if you like. 16-33. I know we talk about how kill-to-death ratio isn't always everything, but that's pretty substantial you know,
Yeah.
less than half kill, 0.5 kill to death ratio. Not great from Mello. We know he's a good player as well.
Yeah.
You know, especially at the beginning of this game, he's
He struggled
fantastic, but he did really struggle against a good opponent in VWS, so they do take the first map in convincing fashion. And it's what we expect. And what was that little eyebrow raise for? Just towards the camera as I seen it.
Ah, well, you know, just giving the camera the old wink.
All right.
I've actually lost my tie, Tony.
You've lost it?
Every single map that we go through. I'm on a 12 map back-to-back streak here. I'm doing the final 2 games unless Brycey decides that he wants to cast one, and will overpower my decision. But yes, he's. I've
got a feeling he might just let you.
I think he may. But yes, I've decided every single map I'm going to remove a piece of clothing to keep things interesting.
Oh my god.
I don't think I have 12 pieces of clothing.
You're doing 12 maps and you're removing a piece of clothing.
That's right. I reckon I've got maybe 10 pieces of clothing on. That's the stage it's
I
got
can
to.
only say I'm extremely worried about what's going to happen.
Well,
I mean,
it's
the
just the
thing
kind
is
of
as
crazy
well,
guy
it's not like we're playing the best out of 5 series where
no.
you know, this is like there's guarantee if you get naked.
Things are going to get real freaky in here.
Oh.
Anyway, we'll go into A. We're making this interesting, Sonny. It's going to happen.
Well, you're making it a bit creepy if that's what you mean. But
just to clarify, do you know what? Shall I just add clothing? every map that's played, I'll add a coat. I'll layer up.
it's very warm in
Yeah,
here.
it's we're close to the surface of the sun, I think. But I think yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a jumper, a sweatshirt. I'm going to see if I can sweat as much as Brycey does. Here we go into the game, risking finding his first kill there.
That's not possible though, really, is it?
Potentially not. I mean, I give it a good go. I do perspire quite a bit.
We've got Jess and makeup coming in every map.
Yes.
the shine is real.
Oh yeah, you know, you can probably see the camera in the reflection of my forehead, but
I was actually on about Brycey, but okay.
oh, he takes it to a whole new level. Like we can see outer space from there. Here we go though, into the uplink game here on Detroit, and early days. It's going to be 1 point going in the favor of HyperGames, so it's them that are opening up the scoreline.
I do believe we still actually have some music from the stream in the background. If,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it as well.
Oh,
there we go.
You just killed it.
Oh my god, Tony JS has actually
What an
managed to get away with this one. Fantastic work by him, but HyperGames obviously 1-0 up after we just completely waffled on for the first minute.
Yep.
And sometimes I think there's not really much point in cutting the game when Bryce is casting because you can just see the stream off his forehead.
Yes, it's something that we have to be conscious of sometimes, I guess. But we'll be sure to rip Brycey a little bit more as the stream goes on.
Oh no, absolutely.
We will continue with some commentary over this game. Though watching Braino, and I mean this is what you were saying, Tony. So the inconsistency that sometimes can work for or against them, and this is a prime example of it. So things may change as the game gets into the later stages, but already 7-3, looking really strong on this, and then the next game we'll see him go heavily negative.
Probably. I mean,
It's
you
hard
know,
to say.
it's one of them things where VWS can either go really well for them or really bad. Because every single player, I feel, has a certain bit of inconsistency. I don't think every player on the game, there's only a few select amount of players that I would say are in EU Call of Duty and World Call of Duty that are consistently good every single map.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, it can work in your favor if everyone has a good game, then, you know, you can go out and win things. But if everyone has a bad game, then, you know, you can sort of let results slip away that you shouldn't. But at the same time, it's nice to have players on your team who can step up to the plate when needed. So, like, Nelson isn't having the greatest game so far. Brain, at the minute, having a good game. So it's nice to have that sort of that range of players who can do work. But 4-0 currently the HyperGames, so that's all irrelevant because they're currently getting beat.
Yeah, Mello almost got the big turn on Sonny B there. Fortunately for him, it was cleaned up by Tony JS, and HyperGames looking really strong going into this. Knowlton with a nice 2-piece. Can he find Tony JS? It's a difficult shot to make. He gets the assist, though, thanks to Damo. That's 3 down. HyperGames are going to struggle now. They're going to have to defend this as Knowlton struggles to run anywhere. Brain's going to venture right into the school area, dipping in and out. And, you know, any kind of push that VWS could have got from that has kind of been reset now that everyone's spawned up.
Well, they're in a position for a 1, actually, and that is actually
there we go.
in. So 4-1 now. 2 minutes to go in the first half, sorry. And yeah, VWS not looking the greatest here, and they are, if anything, on the stronger side. So it's interesting to see that they are lingering behind 4-1 as well. So let's see if they can get this one back. They do currently have control of the drone.
It's going to be Brain with that in hand, passes it safely to Damo. Throws it to him, in fact, and he's going to venture into school now. Got to be careful as he goes around this corner. He may come head-to-head. He's got his teammates supporting him now. And thanks to Sonny B. Oh, he's not quite opened up. Is he going to go for the 1-point play? He's desperate to get the 2. He slides in. He's going to get it. Only 1 point behind now for VWS.
And he's actually managed to survive here somehow. He eventually does go down, risking taking him down, as well as Nelson. But as I said, VWS have caught things up.
And that is absolutely right. VWS doing a great job of catching up, but they are still 1 point behind. That's the important thing to remember here. It's such a narrow scoreline. Tony, you commented on the fact that sometimes there is a preferential spawn, and both teams will be aware of that, as again, we see this very familiar school push.
It's not going to happen from Nelson. No, he doesn't have any support whatsoever, so there's no point in him even risking it. But with him now, is he going to make this kill? Good movement, but not really helping him out there. It does go down. Beziok just holding down school.
Speaking of risking it, here's risking now. Let's see what it does here. I mean, this school's, it's the important area, I guess, when it comes to uplink on Detroit. This is where the pushes will always go down. It's where there needs to be some big defenses, because Brain has the option now. He could flank left and go for the throw, which he looks like he was going to try if he managed to get that melee, or he pushes right and goes for the more difficult 2-point play. He has gone for the throw. It's not connected, though.
Yeah, it was Sonny B who tried to pick things up there and just tried to keep the pressure. He was far too close to even think about resetting it, even though 3 of his teammates had went down. Did try for it, just didn't come off for him. So that looks like it's going to be the score going to the second half. Could somebody get a quick one here? It's not looking like anybody's really set. Oh, they're saying that 3 men do actually go down from HyperGames, and also could tie things up. Not going to happen now, as both teams come to a bit of a stalemate with the kills, and that is going to be 4-3 going to the second half, and the lead is HyperGames.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking to myself that maybe he was going to go for the 1-point play and go for a throw, but I don't think he was in a good position to do that anyway, so you can't really hold it against him for trying to make that 2-point play and try and take the lead early on. I don't think VWS will be too disheartened with just a 1-point lead. As we say, it's, I mean, this game, when looked at from a league perspective, is kind of redundant anyway. It doesn't really affect anything for VWS, but at the same time, they will surely be wanting to take down HyperGames. They want those bragging rights. They don't want to be saying that they lost to a team that is going into relegation, so will no doubt be still trying their hardest going into the second side.
Well, let's see what Miller can do for this Garage, and he does get taken down. Well, Garage, if you're our American friend Courage, who was over here this weekend. Oh, but with Nelson again making impressive kills, and I think he's such a good player. I'm a fan. I am a fan of Nelson. I enjoy watching him play. Mello, though, absolutely shuts down any advance that VWS did have down that left-hand side. Fantastic work by him. You know, we criticised him in the previous game, but that was absolutely phenomenal by the youngster.
Yeah, he's done great there. He has got stuck, though. That may cost him. And that uplink drone has been collected by Damo. Just about manages to throw it out of bounds. That's going to reset. And that means that VWS escape what could have been a loss of points.
And that was really good what they did there, actually. I just looked towards the top left corner to see the map. And they jumped in there where the drone wasn't, through towards HyperGames spawn, because there's so many members of HyperGames still in their spawn. So if they're getting a hold of that uplink drone, it literally would have been easy points for HyperGames, but at this moment in time the game is pretty delicately poised. Could go either way.
Certainly is. The uplink drone has been thrown out of bounds once more, but it's going to be that frustrating reset delay for VWS. They've got to wait until it goes back to that home spawn so that they can try and make another push with it. They are 1 point down, but it doesn't matter if you're 10 points down or 1 point down, it's still going to be a loss. So VWS, they are under pressure.
Mello making another couple kills on the board there. 17 and 18, but he's made some good contributions for his team. And I'm not too sure who I'm with here, Ralph, because you've broken it.
Broken it?
You've broken it.
No.
Come here.
Oh, let me fix that for you.
Oh, wait, no. There we go.
I'm so sorry.
God damn it.
Sometimes I want to have a little flick through of the guns and see what's going on. But as I'm flicking through the players up and down, I've got chubby thumbs. I can't help it.
Chubby thumbs?
For a scrawny guy, I have chubby thumbs. They've got a mind of their own. But yes, Brain there manages to get a kill off the back of Sunny B's 2-piece. Nice play from him. Knowlton following it up as well against Veziok. Really opening play up. And we are going to see VWS actually take this lead of 5-4. They're going to try and bounce back and get another one as you see more kills being made in quick succession.
Risking with a very important kill on the demo there. Knowlton going to try and clean things up, and he has done. Sunny B has a hold of the drone. It looked clear, not quite. And it was actually Mello in the way there. So Mello's made a couple of really, really good kills for his team, but the pressure is still very much on HyperGames' Brain. Putting some bullets down, but excuse me, mate, they've all spawned in Garage. It's not going to help VWS extend that lead at the moment. Very good defense by HyperGames.
Yeah, VWS, though, it's only a very narrow lead, and it could easily tie up or go onto a HyperGames lead if HyperGames can make a good, successful push here. Only 2 minutes of play left on this map. Hello there, just resetting his health, making sure he's got full armor regeneration. He's just kind of bouncing back into, very hesitant to make this push. He's got full knowledge that there will be someone waiting around the corner. Manages to duck and dive, unable to connect with a melee. Finally finds it. Sonny B goes down, as does Nolson. Oh, and Mello, great play from him. Great initiative shown. He is going to walk away with this. It's a good push from Mello.
Yeah, he needs his teammates up to help him in, though. And, you know, they've got control school now. Yes, he does go down. But if they can keep control of this, they can get some points on the board. Tony Jess makes a kill onto Nolson. Risking shots being fired. Oh, and unfortunately, it does actually bounce all the way through, and Brain's just going to take that. Reset. Very easy for VWS. 5-4 to them, currently with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go.
Well, they are 1-0 up in the Super 6 series here. 250 points to 111 was the score on Biolab Hardpoint. Not a convincing victory for them here if they should walk away with a 5-4 victory on this Detroit uplink map. Riskin getting shut down. Brain, Sonny B and Nolson. Sublime play from them, working together well. And again, they have the opportunity to make another push here. They could just finish this once and for all rather than clinging on to this 1-point lead.
I think keeping hold of this here is a little bit... It's
just throwing it out.
It's risky. It is risky to throw that out there because they did actually have a little bit of a setup there, but it's sensible in a way. But can they keep doing that for the next 40 seconds?
Well, we will see. 35 seconds on the clock, and the uplink drone does reset. This is HyperGames' only chance now to do something. Brain straight away picks that up, throws it out. We see this so many times from teams on Detroit uplink. It's, you know, it's got to be the most frustrating thing for the opposing team because as soon as that uplink drone's picked up, it can be thrown into an unrecoverable position.
Oh, yeah, come HyperGames. Is he going to be able to get this one in? It's not going to happen. Sonny B coming up clutch. 2 kills in a row for him. Picking up the 2, and that should be it for VWS. This should be a 2-0 lead for them. There comes the reset. And wow, Sonny B coming up clutch at the very end there.
And a clutch indeed it was. I mean, just on the topic of throwing it out of bounds in an unrecoverable position, it's so much easier to do on a map like Detroit as opposed to something like Comeback where you have to run into glass and throw it through the window. You can actually see on the screen there, it's Harley from IGI that's acting as VWS coach for this game.
I wouldn't listen to what he's had to say after the performances this weekend. Nah, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've actually given Harley quite a bit of praise. For IGI, I think he's one of the standout players for me, and I think he's going to be lingering around in the scene quite a bit longer. Whether that's with IGI or not, I do not know. But, you know, he does have this influence on the game. Very talented with the sniper rifle. So probably going to be seeing more from him in the latter stages of Call of Duty. Maybe even as we transition onto Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
But back to this game, VWS there. A 5-4 victory, just about edging it against HyperGames.
Yeah, but in the end, good for their win. I feel Mello made some really clutch plays for HyperGames there. I feel a bit bad for him after that loss. But at the end of the day, it is a team game, and as you can see, every single member of VWS did go positive. Every single... Excuse me, wow, what's going on with it? My bodily functions today. Every single member of HyperGames was actually negative. So, I mean, you know, we try not to read into it too much as we've got results on our screen here, but... You have to say it does make a difference when every single member of your team is negative.
Oh yeah, no, a big difference, and it was the same old story. I mean, it was only a 1-point difference between these teams, but you could see that every single push that was being made was generally VWS based. So HyperGames are doing a great job of defending and getting that reset on. Yeah. But it was always VWS's game to lose that. So the only thing that HyperGames could have done is got lucky in that situation. Next map is going to be Recovery, Search and Destroy before we go to the halftime break. That's going to be followed by Uplink on Parliament, Compound on Hardpoint, and then we're going to finish off with some Solar, Search and Destroy. Great map.
I'm quite a fan of Compound.
Yeah, it's good. It's obviously one of the DLC maps, probably one of the lesser played maps as well as a result of that. But a lot of players have taken to it because it's so small and fast paced. I think that's what a lot of people enjoy. Of course, this is going to be a Recovery, and opposite end of the scale here. A little bit bigger than Compound. And you can see the bomb sites on your screen now.
When you say a little bit bigger.
Well, you know, notably bigger. But yeah, the bomb sites there, the A and B bomb sites scattered across the map. Standard formation for a Search and Destroy map, really. And you know, in all fairness, as much as we're kind of saying this is a fairly big map, only when the map expands does it hit that scale. So actually, realistically, it's fairly small, all things considered.
So everything we just said about it.
Yeah. Just I take it all back. If it was the full map being played out, it's huge. But you know, it's a small/medium-sized map on this basis. Anyway, here we go. Sonny B making this push with the bomb now.
I think we get distracted sometimes when we commentate, don't we?
All the time.
I think we go off course.
Yeah, maybe. We focus on Brycey a lot. We take any opportunity to humiliate Brycey, we take it, because in the real world, I'm too scared to do it. I'm too scared and intimidated by him. So when I'm safe and enclosed with a headset on, I'm effectively, it's like a keyboard warrior, but I'm a headset warrior. That's the only comparison I can make.
Brain is left in the 1 versus 3. He's going to pick up 1, not going to pick up the second or third. Nope, goes down, bomb defused, 1-0 HyperGames.
Yes,
See, that's the only little bit of analysis that we actually did on that one.
Yeah, no, but great start for HyperGames there. As we say, probably the weaker of the two teams going into this. That's both based off league standings and the fact that they are 2-0 down in a Super 6 series. And VWS just trying to make sure they hit that 4-map point that will guarantee them the victory. They will, of course, see this through. And you can see, and this is something that's great, even though VWS are well aware that this has no bearings on the current standings in the league. They have secured themselves that 3rd place finish. They are playing this maturely and professionally and playing it the whole way through.
Risking planting the bomb. And once again, it seems very easy for either of these teams to get this bomb down. Nobody really been sacrificed for it either. And let's see what VWS can do to try and get that defused. Mellow does go down to Sunny B.
Who is going to be making the pushes here? Nolson finds Veziok. Brain doesn't want to go for it just yet, trying to pick up some more kills, make sure the coast is clear. It's all down to Tony JS, 1 versus 4, and he's got to prevent them defusing. Not looking good for them here. VWS are going to take that round.
Yeah, he was in an absolute terrible position there, actually. I don't really understand why he was all the way back there, but it was always going to be a hard situation for him anyway. And something I don't understand is why people don't try to save their grenades until they do potentially have the bomb down or they know exactly where somebody is. I think pre-grenades, what, 9 times out of 10 they don't work.
They don't, but I mean, the benefit that they do have, they create a barrier, I suppose, because the grenade's going to be flying over, it prevents any sort of rush. I thought for a second nobody picked up that bomb. It is going to be Sunny B. Oh, and Nolson goes for it.
Not quite pulling it off. He has seen Tony JS at the back. It's getting a little bit unfortunate with the movement there. Shot fired off, not really getting anywhere near Tony. Just having a poke around here. Just see if he can find somebody that's risking. Going to go down to the headshot. And the bomb is down once again.
We've got a sniper on the other end of the scale here in Veziok. Does not have that thermal side on it though. It's just going to be vaulting up and down, trying to get some sort of scope. Somebody does need to make a push on this bomb site soon if they want to go for the defuse. All down to Nolson now.
Well, it's not the worst situation. He is only in a 1 versus 2, and look, he's kept that grenade.
He needs to use it quick though, Nolson. Oh, just about, and that is a huge play from him. Needs to get to the bomb site quickly. Needs to get there very quickly, and fortunately for him, Tony Jess has decided not to go for the defuse. He was dedicating himself for that kill, and I was thinking to myself that Nolson wasn't even going to go and check that for a moment, but luckily for him, he did get it just about in the nick of time. Yeah,
good setup by Nolson. I understand now so more why Tony JS may have been staying back there previously, but I think you know, he did that exactly right there. Nolson, he got himself in a position where he could actually pull it off, and he was not in a situation where it wasn't never going to happen.
Absolutely. Well, here we go now. Steen on board with the attacking side, and I am going to make a selection on Veziok here. He's got the bomb in hand, but he doesn't have any kills to his name. Veziok is really struggling on the search and destroy, really not contributing much at all.
Yeah, he's had I feel as if HyperGames have had a hit-y-missy tournament and league season as a whole. Nothing seems to have materialized, even from some good performances.
Yeah.
But it seems to be one player will do well one map, one player will do well the next map, one player will do well the other map, but then the other 3 players just tend to underperform.
Yeah.
I've seen Veziok have good games. I've seen Riskin have good games. I've seen Tony JS have good games. We just see Mello have a good game. But it doesn't matter if the rest of the team aren't stepping up to the plate. No,
and it's strange to see that you don't get this consistency that you I guess you desire when it comes to a team like this. There we go, Nolson opening things up with a fantastic snipe across the map, taking down Tony JS and already giving them the number advantage. And VWS looking to close this out. Remember, in this Super 6 series, they do already have 2 rounds under the belt, trying to make it a 3rd.
Well, because it is the Super 6, we will be playing every single map. So 6 maps in a row. 12 maps in a row for you because of
oh yeah.
Yeah, you're doing 2.
I'm taking it all away.
In a row.
Millennium IGI is mine, Bryce, so you're not taking that away from me.
I haven't seen you put on any extra clothing yet, but I have seen the bomb go down. And the one person trying to defend that is Riskin. So he's trying to defuse that. And currently, Yeah, it's not going to happen for him, I don't think, but he has managed to get the kill on the Sunny B.
Risking. Oh, I thought for a second he was going off the map, but he does just about stay on. Decides to chance it. And here we go. You can see him shaking. He's nervous. He's really nervous going for this defuse, and he almost gets it. Fortunately, though, for VWS, they check it just in time. Great play from them. And that is going to mean they extend their lead even further. HyperGames, after their first round win in this Search and Destroy, are now crumbling.
Yeah, it's been very, very good from VWS straight from the off, really. 4-1 to them now. And they're making light work of HyperGames here, I feel.
They certainly are. We will see what HyperGames can do, though, to try and escape this sticky situation they've found themselves in. Veziok still yet to find a kill after 5 rounds of Search and Destroy. That's very unusual, quite disappointing as well, and I'm sure he's hungry for that. Just wants to get somebody. Oh, and he takes a sniper bullet as well. Just about stays alive, and it's so unfortunate. His connects, I guess that's justice, given that he managed to survive to that point, but it means that Veziok is now 0-5. Very, very poor performance from him.
Tony JS is probably the best player on HyperGames, I would say. I know we say they are often inconsistent, but I've always thought every time I watched him play, he seems to play pretty good. Let's even pull this off. He was a 1 versus 3, but now 1 versus 2.
Yeah, and that is certainly the case here. Great play, though, here from VWS. I know they've not picked up the kill just yet, and Tony played that quite nicely, but they distanced themselves so much, but made sure that they were covering all the cutoffs, made sure that they could see every single channel that he could have pushed out of, and as a result of that, Damon's going to make a very easy kill against Tony JS to make that now 5-1. This is looking very, very easy here for VWS, Ton.
Yeah, it's very comfortable, I feel like. 5-1 now to VWS, and can they close this one out? I think they're going to. 5 rounds in a row. Why not make it 6?
There's Nolson. Get that sniper out. Do something special. I want to see it. Cannot find anyone on that jump. Will be still bearing the Moors, though. Hoping he can scout somebody out. He nearly does. You can just see that a push is going to be made anytime soon here. Nolson going to hold on to the PDW for now, though, and he does go down.
Dropped very quickly by Veziok there, putting some good shots in. Sunny B does get the bomb down, doesn't have much support. His teammates need to get in a position where they can help him. Oh, Sunny's going to catch somebody out there just behind. Is he going to be able to get this guy who's on the bottom side? Big gunfight, Sunny B. Very well played, and suddenly it is a 1 versus 3. And Melo's going to have to try and do it. He does get the kill onto Sunny B eventually, but is going to go down. That's going to be 6-1. To VWS in the 3rd map. They go 3-0 up in the series.
Yeah, and that's, as we said, and as we kind of predicted, really, is 3 maps back-to-back. I mean, my map prediction by the end of the Super 6 series, I said it was going to be maybe 5 maps to 1, potentially a 6-0, and it kind of looks like it's going that way from what we've seen so far. Great play there by VWS as we hit the halfway mark in the Super 6 series. They are going to catch their breath, have a few refreshments, and Brain looks really frustrated at something. I'm not sure what. They're 3-0 up, so I'm just having a look at the scoreboard, seeing if anything was bothering him. No, 1.5. And again, look at this. Exact same as what we saw in the uplink game. Every single member of VWS positive, kill death. Every single member of HyperGames negative. And that's what you can expect with a 6-1 victory, really.
It tells a story, really, doesn't it, itself? It's impressive from VWS. I think they have outperformed what they were expected to do in this league. Considering, I mean, you look at all the players there, and none of them are necessarily players who have been around for a very, very long time. Sunny B, probably the longest, but Nolson, Brain, and Damo are all relatively new to the scene, so they're doing quite well, considering. And they are now winning 3-0. They guaranteed themselves at least a point. Not that that matters now at this point. I think this is, obviously, with this being their last game of the season, everything is pretty much tied up at this point. So it could just be a case of IGI when they're 6-0 Millennium. Obviously, they'll go above HyperGames.
Don't count IGI out just yet. They may be able to pull something special out of the bag. But, yeah, VWS doing what we would expect, really, a 3-0 victory. They are going to get that 1 point, and it's going to put them in a great position. So we're going to cut to a quick break. We'll join us back for the final 3 games in this Super 6 series. Do not go anywhere.
You're not on it? I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Where are you at?
Interesting choice it would be, but he doesn't pull it. Gets it. There's one. Oh, it's
no,
going to be
he's
close.
Snipe. Oh, he gets the second one. Clay, the MVP with the 2 snipes. All smiles, high fives coming from Attach. The birthday boy, able to pick it up.
Wow, and look at that, the accuracy there. And I mean, you know, in those close quarters.
They didn't really have full control. They were defending the flank over and over again. And another thing with doing it, eventually you will get overwhelmed in that position. The other thing, we'll be able to eventually break it, maybe get a 2-piece of touch. Oh my goodness!
There's the fourth two. Can he pick it up? He gets it.
Oh my
The entire team at TCM taken out in a matter of seconds. Attach, man, he is young. He is still developing as a player, but God, he is the stuff.
I would have liked to play the better teams, to be honest. We're all putting as much work as each other. We're all just telling each other what to do, stay alive, whatever, challenge, and we work really well together. I'd say the only weak thing is the S&D modes at the moment. But apart from that, I think we're a pretty strong team. We can only get better, really. Ultimate goal, obviously, to stick, because we've got good chemistry. Obviously to improve and hopefully challenge the top teams again next season. Hopefully play the top teams at LAN, because everyone just thinks we're online players. But that's just people's egos online. But probably to improve, obviously, get better at S&D as a team, and obviously to take down the top teams more consistently and hopefully don't choke like we have been. As long as nothing changes in anyone's life, I'd say most certainly staying for lap 3. My name's Brian Fairham, and we are VWS Gaming.
Well, there you go. That was Brain there from VWS, and you know I like him. I like how he always seems to do the interviews, and he never seems phased by it. You know,
he's a nice guy.
Us northern lot. You know, we don't care. We'll just get ourselves on camera, say what we want. But you know, I would like to see them actually stick going into Black Ops 3, because I think they've got a semi-decent squad there. I think they can, you know, sort of challenge those other teams. They are the sort of team where you've seen they grind it out, you know, they get these results, and I want to see them keep going. I think they've got some potential, definitely, and it'd be great to see how they do next year.
Yeah, absolutely, and I couldn't agree more with that. They've done really well, and you said there, or Brian said there rather, that they need to work on the search and destroys as if that was the downfall, but we just saw a really convincing search and destroy from them there, and you know they're not looking set to be losing any of them anytime soon. Not certainly to HyperGames though. They will actually be going on to Parliament Uplink next. Now the previous Uplink game that we saw, very close, 5-4 to VWS, and whilst it was a convincing VWS victory, it was still only 1 point in it.
I think this is really going to depend who's played Parliament as much as possible, because I've only seen it once this weekend. And it was very clear to see that one team had played it a lot and the other hadn't necessarily played it at all. So it's one of them things to see if teams have actually practiced it and if they can get away with some of the players that the other team are going to be bringing out. But this is going to be Parliament, one of the new game maps. I was going to call it a mode there. I wonder what type of mode Parliament would be.
But it's an interesting map. I don't know. Don't ask me about game modes. I'll start creating my own crazy ones and inappropriate ones again. But Parliament, yeah, obviously it's set London base. You can see Big Ben in the background there, set on a ship. So really mixing things up. The only thing you can kind of compare it to is the likes of Wet Work from Call of Duty 4, and that's for no other reason than it's on a boat. There hasn't really been. I'm trying to think of any other boat maps.
Wet Work.
There was was it Carrier or Hangar? I think it was on one of the previous Call of Duties.
Wet Work was a phenomenal map.
I'd say it was probably my least favourite search and destroy map, but
you probably sucked at it. That's why.
I was terrible at everything, Sonny. I'm openly honest about this.
Did you try and snipe it all? Did you try and get yourself up in the top and snipe, or were you one of these guys who sits on top of the crates?
M16 in the corner.
M16 in the corner. That doesn't surprise me at all. I would use a burst rifle for close quarters if you're in a
because I'm a terrible player, Tony. This is this is the point I feel I need to emphasise.
Well, 1 point already on the board to VWS while we were chatting our general rubbish as we usually do.
And it's a great start from them, and as you can see, uniting well as a team. They have all dropped down, though. HyperGames in a great position now to answer right back if they can find that uplink drone. You can see them just trying to navigate the map here. Veziok going for the flank, making sure he's got some support on there. It's going to be Riskin, who seems to be moving in on that objective location. Is he going to push up, or is he just going to hold back?
Well, the position he's got now, really holding things down. He's done very, very well there. Picks up 3, and I feel as if they are definitely on the easier side, and that should be a dunk coming in there. Veziok gets that in easily, and once you get it down that left-hand side and you have control of that, it's so easy to get a few points on the board, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to relay this one in. Tony Jess is going to come, and he should be able to make the 1. Oh, and that's a good interception by Brain. Just about gets it there. And a minute and a half in. This is looking all right. Straight through the middle there. Go. Here come VWS.
It's great to see Brain's motivation as well to play and compete as well, because you feel that sometimes some of the top tier players might be a bit complacent or casual about it, given the fact that they've competed for so long and it achieved so much. But Brain's still hungry for this. You know, they have solidified their 3rd place placement here. That's not going to change, but he still wants to prove a point. He still wants to play to the highest of his ability.
It'll be interesting to see how they would have done against the really good teams this weekend. I mean, I would like to see them play Millennium and Vitality, possibly.
Riskin's map knowledge there, not the best.
It's just jumped off. I mean, right, okay. Anyway, on board again. But I would have liked to see them play Millennium this weekend just to see how it would have went for them. But
well, they did take down Infused, and as you say, we wanted the Millennium Vitality matchup would have been a great game for the finals here, the EU Season 2 Pro League finals. But in any case, they proved themselves against Infuse yesterday, and they're asserting their dominance here over the likes of HyperGames, arguably one of the strongest French teams that are purely French-based in terms of players that are competing at the moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, HyperGames, they need to step it up to the level that they can actually bring, because I feel they can do a good job, HyperGames. They're a good team, but they've never really made it work this season.
No, and certainly the case. Couldn't agree more with that. Fairly even distribution of kills and deaths going across the board now. Nobody particularly underperformed, nobody particularly outstanding, and that's kind of reflected in the scoreline. It's a very narrow lead that's currently held by HyperGames. They're looking to extend that now, though. Mello does just about get shut down by Nolson. The uplink drone still out of position, and it's going to be Tony JS that's closest to it for HyperGames. It is going to be collected by Sunny B, though.
Yeah, Sunny B just with the reset straight off the boat. Now, I think said that he thinks this map's depressing.
He said that?
He did. He said it's
what a terrible thing to say. I know you're sat there in the main stage 2 listening to this. I see you on that front row, just as you turn the corner. It's his little spot. He has his own little spot at the front. I love it.
Does he?
Yeah.
Does he always go to that same place?
He's been sitting there today. I love you really, Reese. Anyway.
I don't.
Okay. But yes, here we go. Veziok is going to be the player we're spectating here on HyperGames. 3 go down for HyperGames, and again, this is just good news. All the VWS boys have managed to actually take the lead here, 3 points to 2.
Such a long map as well that, you know, even with the ability to, you know, use the jetpack that we have got in Advanced Warfare, it still takes a while to get across the map. That looks just a little bit short by HyperGames there. I think it was Tony Jess who went for that throw and just not really pulling it off at all. Tony B's cleaning up shop, and I would like to see that actually from VWS. They're letting HyperGames come towards them, getting the kills, then pushing out themselves. It's like a counteract sort of tactic.
Yeah. And you know, we're just seeing how Nolson's going to play this out now. A lot of the time, the uplink drone is attempted to be thrown off the map anyway. It just seems to be this anxiousness about both the teams competing on this map, and I feel like that's coming from the fact that maybe this has been underplayed. You know, uplink on Parliament, it's not something that you hear frequently said around the competitive scene, so they will have a lack of knowledge of this, but that's going to apply to both these teams, and you can kind of see that they're very nervous to make these pushes.
Well, there you go. That's getting the first half over. And that's going to now be 3-2 to VWS.
It certainly is. So VWS do have the lead going into the second half of this. And again, it's just resonating from that previous uplink game that we saw in Detroit, which finished 5-4 in VWS's favour. It's still just that 1 point narrow margin difference. So VWS will probably be quite happy to hold on to this, knowing that HyperGames aren't particularly playing aggressively. We'll see if that's going to be the case, though. We will start off with one of the HyperGames players, and we'll start off with Riskin, 14-12. Riskin, very much so a veteran of the scene in the French community, at least, and you always see him floating about the top French teams. Predominantly does play alongside other French players, as opposed to the likes of Katarga, who is well established, and you could argue prefers to play with some of the English guys.
Yeah, I feel as if Katarga has shown a lot more with the English members, and it has shown because HyperGames not doing as well as Millennium. Obviously, in the season, Millennium winning the league. HyperGames nearly rock bottom, finishing second bottom as long as IGI do not beat Millennium. But here we go.
Miracles can happen.
Yeah, and this is what I'm going to come to expect, actually. VWS now on the better side, and they have already capitalized on that heavily, making up a few points in a quick succession. And on board with Veziok.
There we go. So 4 minutes left of this game on uplink Parliament. Veziok takes a lot of fire, tries to empty some shots out himself. Not many were connecting. Not quite sure where Tony JS was taking the uplink drone there, but is going to go out of bounds and go straight for that reset. Nice little safety cushion that VWS have managed to build up here with his 6-2 lead.
On board with Brent. Just locking down this middle of the map. And he's a very good AR player, is Brent. I say that as he misses every single bullet. Cast does curse. Just trying to hold things down as HyperGames really do try to advance on their Damo. Going to pick up a 2-piece, so good work by him. Actually, he used the Gung Ho perk, doesn't he, Damo?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get on board with him. We'll just see if he's got that on once he does respawn here. And no, maybe not. But yeah, he has been known to do that. So interesting tactics from him, but sticking to the more conventional perks and attachments. And, you know, this late into the game, I mean, even initially, when we come to the first events after a game is released, the community has already established what the best perks and guns are to use. You don't really see too much variance throughout. Because as much
I mean, to be honest, at the beginning, it always stays the same. With this game, it hasn't really changed too much.
As much as the guns are balanced, there's always going to be that one that is essentially the best. You can't...
Val ASM1's always been the same way,
yeah,
all the way through. I think in previous CODs, though, it's been a bit different. I feel as if, obviously, with the buffs and the nerfs that have come in through patches throughout the game, that, you know, it had changed in previous games, and I feel as if it will do again. And I like it because it refreshes it a little bit, doesn't it? And, you know, it changes things up, and it's nice to see from time to time things being completely changed and people using different guns, because it's a bit boring just using the barrel all the time.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, there's always going to be the dominant SMG, AR, and sniper rifle. And if you just think of it like that, that is the variance. It's whether you choose a sniper SMG or an AR. But there's always going to be the preferred class within each of those. There's always the one that's going to stand out the most because it can adapt to most situations. Unless you have a specific map where one might slightly be better.
Yeah, so say it's a really close quarters map, then you
might
want
want to have faster paced SMG, something along those lines. But apart from that, as you say, it's just ASM1 and battle dominated, really. Here we go with Brain, who we did just see on that pre-match interview. We got his thoughts leading up to this game. Currently seeing his team through to a victory here if they manage to hold on to this 7-2 lead.
Right, does pick up a kill, gets help from Nolson as well, and every single time he sets up down that left-hand side, he does seem to get an advance on, but not quite that time on board with Damo. And he's set up very, very well. If they can make this kill, this is going to be another point on the board, surely, for VWS. Nobody really grabbing a hold of the drone at the moment. He does actually make that kill onto Tony JS, just trying to stay alive, and none of his team really doing anything with the time that they had the control. And Brain is probably just going to reset.
Yeah. Manages to actually throw it out this time. He did struggle beforehand, and you can see that that's a little bit of map knowledge that has been gained. He's not throwing it out of bounds so that it does go for the initial reset. It's instead going to be that frustrating delay, and you can just tell the positioning here of VWS. They're just loitering around that uplink drone spawn so that immediately, look at this, Damon's going to pick it up. Is he going to throw it out of bounds again? It looks like that's going to be the case. Yep, and they're just going to play this through. They're going to do the same thing over and over. He's probably going to hold on to this, actually, or is he? Yeah, he's just going to throw it. I think he knows that even if they manage to get a 2-point capture play, they still wouldn't have time to follow that up with anything else.
Yeah, I would like to see them actually try and extend that lead that they've got with 7-2. Very respectable score. 30 seconds to go, and they should just be able to play this one out, and we will move on to the next map.
Yeah, and this is it. It's like you say, they could quite easily push for more points, but at the end of the day, all they've got to do is take a victory here, and whether that's by 1 point or 10, it doesn't matter. 7-2, they'll be happy with that, having defeated, again, what we would class as arguably the strongest French team in circulation at the moment, with French players within it. Obviously, we know there are these big French organisations such as Vitality and Millennium, but HyperGames, they're really flying the flag for the French community. 7-2 is going to be the final scoreline, though, and that is going to be, again, another map win for VWS.
And confirming the win for them.
It certainly is. So that's
all 3 points on the board, no matter what happens in these next 2 maps. And let's see if HyperGames can get some back.
Yeah, great play there from VWS to take that. And you can see there a little bit of fatigue being shown by Harley, IGI player. IGI sniper. I like to class him as the dedicated sniper. I see him do it every single time on Search and Destroy, but it actually looks like he's turning into a coach now.
Yeah, I think, you know...
Is this intel? Is this something
is this
going
intel?
on here?
I doubt it. I very much doubt it. I think Harley had a good series against VWS, but at the same time, I don't think he would fit into their squad. There's the scoreboard for you guys, and mostly even a fair, if anything, in terms of kill-to-death ratio. It didn't really reflect on the score, of course. And the score was 7-3.
Well, this was it. I mean, VWS got the lead, and again, they were just kind of throwing that uplink drone out of bounds. They were just causing problems for HyperGames, making it difficult for them to really do anything. So even if HyperGames were picking up kills, VWS didn't really care. They had the point lead, and that's all they needed.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to move into the 5th map now. I'm not 100% sure. Compound Hardpoint. So that'll be interesting. I think this is probably going to be quite high scoring. In terms of, I do think VWS will close this one out with time to spare. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen some landslide victories so far. As I say, we saw a victory of 250 points to 32.
That was crazy.
And again, it's one of the biggest hardpoint victories I've seen in a long time, if not of all time, for this game at events that I've casted over. So, Compound Hardpoint, this is a map where you have the opportunity to really make a big impact, where you can really get a huge landslide victory if your team can simply outslay the opposing team that you're against.
I like a little detail you told about Rust there before, actually.
Oh yeah, it's great. It was someone actually told me about it, and I didn't believe it myself. But you know what Call of Duty is like, and the makers and developers behind it, they love to throw little Easter eggs in. If you go onto free for all on this on a private match sometime, just fly out the. In fact,
we're not doing it now.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Tony? I'm just trying to quickly show you before the game starts.
Screw the game.
Finding my way there. There it is. There's Rust.
Oh, yeah.
You see? And we've got to jump into it now.
I like it.
So I'll let you guys explore that if you're watching the stream. But it's quite nice. It's, of course, not a direct model, but in terms of the actual, the
layout,
crates and everything, it's the exact same.
Oh, wow. Well, Nelson come around the back there and really shouldn't have had any right to win either one of those gunfights. Beat Mello and Riskin, who were just camping up on the hard point. And Vezio can do absolutely nothing about that. And a very good start there instantly for VWS.
Mello now on the hardpoint area. He's actually jumped off it, hoping that his teammate would be able to reclaim it. Does fall back into HyperGames control, so this start very, very scrappy from both teams. Damo with a huge 3-piece there, 5-1.
Very, very well played by him. 5-2 now as he does go down. Damo or Damo?
I'm sticking with Damo.
I think Damo makes more. It sounds better.
Yep.
So we'll go with Damo.
It's Damo, I've decided. And he does drop very swiftly there in that central hardpoint area. Risking now following up and trying to get back some more points. As you can see, HyperGames do actually have the lead here. Doing a great job of this. Tony JS is straight onto the rotation.
Well, Tony was straight on the rotation. He was killed straight away as well. But as said, though, HyperGames in the lead. Brain just trying to stop that now. And I think we'll see VWS get a hold of this and potentially take some control. You can see they're making the kills that they need to. That kill should eventually come in. Tony JS does manage to survive, and Brain is taking a lot of damage. Veziok and Tony JS doing work though. Nelson, he's going to have something to say about it, though. Does pick up 2 before going down. Damo can't quite pick up the second. Riskin is going to come in there, clean things up. But backwards and forwards on this hardpoint, nothing really happening for either team. Nobody getting a strong hold. At this moment in time, nobody really in control of the game.
Hello now, oh, makes a big 2-piece there, actually gets killed by his own teammate. Quite unfortunate for him. HyperGames still with that lead, but it's only a narrow difference between both of these as we go over to the next hardpoint. It's going to switch over very soon. You can see them all setting up in there, getting ready. Nolson is in Courage Corner. I've decided it's called Courage Corner. He told me about this going into the first hardpoint. Compound Game had actually cast it over, and it was certainly news to me, nothing I was particularly aware of, but as you can see now, Nolson's just going to hold tight. He's going to be ready for push in.
He's doing the right thing here because he's letting the rest of the team do all the work for him outside, so then if he needs to, he can just clean up just like that. 2 kills for him. Letting the team do the work, and then suddenly you've got a couple of weak members of HyperGames flying in, and Nolson will just do the business. Do change it up. I was going to suggest that because a bit boring watching Nolson just sitting inside the hard point.
It's just so difficult to see in that corner. Nolson is just going to hang tight there. Great support by Sunny B, who's picked up a few of the kills around him, which is great news for Sunny B because he's really actually struggled so far in this game. He's currently only sitting on 4-9 despite this little burst we've seen.
Well, Nolson is on a 4 streak. Yeah, let's put up some numbers inside the point. Don't know if he's interested about staying in there. Still is actually alive, but Sunny P pushing out, causing all sorts of problems. Still get a headshot onto Riskin, and you know, Nolson's still no, he did eventually go down there. You go to Veziok as we move on to the next one, and a little bit of a lead there for VWS.
That's right, here we go. Mello does just about make that kill against Nolson in that little gunfight in the air that we saw. Sweeping around the back now, and they've got this under some good control actually. You can see because they've got to be conscious of the fact that the enemy can actually exo boost up right in the center of this hard point. There's a lot of angles to cover. It's quite hard to defend on your own, but it's very hard to attack too.
Mello picking up a 2-piece inside this hard point. I really like this this hard point actually because I think it's just completely insane. You know, there's nothing, no real structure about it. There's not really that great amount of cover, so it is literally about just gunfights. And it has a bit of verticality about it as well when you can come through the floor. So there's so many different angles, and it can just be a bit crazy.
Yeah.
A few kills did go down from both teams, but the lead is still obviously in VWS's hands now. This hard point I don't like. I think it's far too big personally, but.
It's going to be really strange going on to Black Ops 3 actually because we're all so well adapted to the exo boosts. I know obviously the beta's out and I know that it's they're ready for
there's a slight bit of exo boosting, but it's not.
It's very. There's no dashing back into anywhere.
It's nowhere remotely as quick.
No, so
it's like a little jetpack boost, and you only have limited as well.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait a certain amount of time so it gens back up. So that is something I feel will work.
Yeah.
I feel as if it makes you think about jumping about
to conserve it.
Yeah.
Use it.
It's more of a float than a jet.
Alongside the raw one, and lots of exciting things to come in the future of Call of Duty.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
But here we go. It's still Nolson and Brain in control of this hard point, and you can now see VWS are actually running away from this. And we saw this on the first hard point on Biolab. It was actually fairly close between the teams initially, and then again VWS just kind of strode ahead and took a victory, 250 points to 111, which was a very substantial win for them.
Well, I'd expect probably around the same score here if you look towards it, and it is double the points for VWS at the moment. All the kills seem to be going in their favour down the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Nelson's going to pick up another one there, and he needs to try and cover off here, and he needs to get himself in a better position because they were all spawning over that side. The HyperGames players been holding this down. I love the use of the concussion stun grenades just to slow things down a little bit for HyperGames. They're not going to get anywhere near this point. Demo staying alive. He's using Gung Ho and just got kicked in the head by his teammate.
Yeah, Demo 26 to 15 actually. So
check, he is actually using Gung Ho. I thought I've seen it. Yeah, he is. Yeah,
there he is. So that's what he's known for. And yeah, 27 to 15 now, a really strong performance. I mean, we said this map in particular, you can really rack up some kills. Demo looking set to quite easily get a 40 bomb here if he continues this performance. There is the potential to drop the 50, but unless this map actually plays out to the full remaining 4 minutes, I don't think it's got time for that.
No, I think he will have time if it plays all the way out, but I don't think it's going to after you see this score. It's a lot more than double now. There's VWS really in the driving seat here. And it's looking like it's going to be a 6-0 to me. 5-0 at the moment as we go. Well, it will be 5-0, sorry, after this game if we go into the last map. And a few points on the board actually for HyperGames in this past minute or so. So they're trying to catch back up.
There we go. Sunny B is going to make the kill against Mello. And you can see that VWS are quite eager to close this one out. Sunny P picks up 2. Can't find a third there. Does get shut down at the last stage against Veziok. Brain is in control of this hardpoint area, though, so it's not going to matter all that much. Sunny B was more of a distraction than anything. You can't help but feel. I want to see a bit more of Damo, though, who's really racking up the kills. Makes it a big 3-piece. Tries to find a 4th, and he's on the hardpoint area. He's going to get the assist. He's probably having words with Sunny B after wanting to claim that for himself.
Yeah, Damo's had a very good game here. 32 and 18 from him. And they're looking, trying to close things out. 197 to 94. Keeping that strong lead that VWS have had. Riskin is the first one there. His teammates are nowhere near him, though. Brain instantly wipes him out. And this could end on this point.
Very much could. You can see again, very much like the first hardpoint game we saw on Biolab. The point difference is almost going to end up exactly the same here if he carries on this way. 210 to 100, so again, over double the points of HyperGames. And realistically, when you look at that and look at it from a bird's eye view, I suppose, it's quite obvious that VWS are the stronger hardpoint team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, they should be able to close this one out. And this point, the team are making all the kills where they need to. They've got the right spawns, and Nolson's managing to stay alive inside this point.
Damo, 3-piece again,
man. 36 and 20. He's definitely, well, actually, I don't know if he's going to have time to hit his 40 bomb now. He might get there. It's not going to happen as long as Nolson stays inside that hard point. Can they get him off just to see if Damo can get himself a 40 bomb? No, it's going to happen, actually. There you go. Can Damo get up to now 243 to 103? And the last few points on this one will go to HyperGames.
Let's see if they're going to be able to close this out on this final hardpoint area. Sunny B is in control here. 247 as time ticks away. That is going to be it. 250. I was keeping my eye on it as well. 250 to 107 is going to be the final score line there. And as we say, very consistent performance from what we saw on Biolab hardpoint, which is 250 to 111. And quite simply, HyperGames just getting outclassed there. Great play from VWS. And that is going to mean this this Super 6 series is actually now 5-0 to VWS. Which means my prediction has to be right. It's either 5-1 or 6-0. That's the second prediction. I know I've kind of covered 2 options there, but the second prediction I've got right back-to-back.
Back-to-back?
Back-to-back. That is it. Yeah, so very, very happy with that. And, you know, I'm chuffed with it, to be honest, because I never get my predictions right. They're always wrong. Even if I go for the obvious choice, it's always wrong. So I actually feel like I know what I'm talking about sometimes. It's a great feeling.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But, I mean, looking at that scoreboard, in terms of kill-death ratio, it was only really Damo that was standing out with a 1.77. Everyone else was kind of loitering about that neutral mark. I mean, we can see, actually, Tony JS dropping off a little bit. But as you said yourself, Tony JS is a really strong French player, and you can argue he's definitely up there. When you look at those 4 on paper, he's potentially one of the strongest in some respects.
Absolutely. I think he's a very, very good AR player, and probably not had the best event that he's ever had this weekend, but I've seen him play very, very well before. At this moment in time, though, maybe not surrounded by the right teammates, maybe not working out for them at this moment in time, obviously with them being relegated from the second season of the Gfinity Pro League. But last map coming up, Solar Search and Destroy. You can't say anything about for a VWS win, am I right? Or?
Yeah, it's got to go that way. I mean, the previous Search and Destroy we saw on Recovery ended 6-1 to VWS. It was actually HyperGames who got the first round there, which was quite surprising. So it was 6 rounds on the bounce by VWS once they'd sorted themselves out. And I mean, look at the screen there. VWS complete clean sweep so far.
Such a fan of that logo, man.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I love actually, my favorite logo is probably the IGI one. In all honesty, at the moment, it's kind of it's like a controller with IGI built into it. Very clever.
What does VWS stand for?
That's not important right now, Tony.
No, I don't know. I was asking.
What is important is that VWS are 5-0 up in the series. Brycey is stood by our side.
Bryce Tacular, maybe you know what VWS stands for. No, you don't.
And
okay.
we've eliminated him from the studio. That was good. Throw him out with a question. I like it. I like your thinking. But yes, let's just make sure I've got everything right. Decided to start flicking around every possible button. That was the one I was looking for. So we are going to start off with the attacking team. Are any of them using the sniper rifle? Are any of them going to go for it? No.
Nobody goes for the Gataga sniper shot. You know, where you get on top of the pole and jump. I've seen him land that before.
Have I seen Gataga land? I'm not sure. I've definitely seen it landed about maybe 2 or 3 times when I've been casting. It was a big moment when it does. But great start here by HyperGames, and the plan does go down by Tony JS.
Couple of kills going to come in there. Brain picks up a 2-piece. Is he going to be able to get a third? Not quite. 1-0 now to HyperGames.
Yeah, and a really quick round there. Smiles all around for the HyperGames boys, which is quite interesting considering that not only the relegate but the 5-0 down in the series. They've got to take whatever victories they can get from this, and one of those is going to be a round win so far in Search and Destroy.
The small things, small victories.
Well, that's it. But I mean, this is it. This is exactly how the previous Search and Destroy started, and then VWS literally run every single round here on in. So let's see if they can have a repeat performance now.
Should we try and bring some energy?
We bring the energy. We bring the fire all the time. This is how we work, Tony.
Yeah, I know. The oldest living duo, if you like. You know, I think that's genuinely true. 3 men do actually go down.
I think so. I think...
who else is commentating now, generally, in the world?
I know Brycey came in a little bit after us in EU. Oh, so you mean internationally as well?
Internationally, there's no other duo that have cast it together as long as me and you.
I guess so. I think it's been about 4.5 years, so it's been an incredibly long time.
Anyway, in COD.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, we don't want to throw out statistics that we don't know about.
Do you want to hug and stuff, or...?
Maybe later. We'll think about it. I am, as we said, I've been removing clothes every single round here, Tony. So.
Have you? I actually haven't noticed.
Yeah. But yes.
What have you been removing?
That's not important right now. All that's important is...
Why is your hand down there?
Tony, stick to the game. It's a 1-1 tie so far on this Search and Destroy between these two teams. On board again with the attackers, who so far seem to be the more dominant side after winning both of their rounds. It's going to be Tony JS with that bomb in hand. The immediate snipe made by Nolson, though, on top roof.
The grenade doesn't look long enough, unfortunately, from Tony JS. It wasn't. Nolson really causing problems this weekend for every single team he's played against. Sonny B is going to come around the back, gets taken out by Tony JS. Brain causing all sorts of problems, though. Tony, I'm not really sure how he's managed to stay alive, but he has done. 2 versus 3 in favor of VWS.
There we go. Tony JS ventures out into pool from the pipes, gets taken down. Only one player now remains. It's going to be Veziok. He's got a lot of work to do. He's going to get shut out, and VWS take the lead. That's 2 rounds on the bounce. I've said, Tony, they could just do it again here. They could get 6 back-to-back. Brain on 6-1 now. And putting up a good performance already in the Search and Destroy. I mean, he could pretty much die in all the remaining rounds, and it would still not be a too bad showing by him. So great plays already from Brain.
Yeah, that's Mellow from HyperGames, looking a little bit dejected maybe. And let's see if they can get back into this one. They won the first round, so they know they can win rounds against this team, but let's see what VWS are going to do on the attack. It's been a very B-heavy orientated map so far today.
There we go. Nolson does have that bomb in hand. Oh, I thought there was going to be a team kill there. VWS charged straight in. And wow, that was a quick round. And again, another round to VWS. That's now 3 on the bounce. Great play from them. And again, you can see Damo there chuffed with that. Brain also central in that lineup. Doing a great job. Nolson, of course, being the closest to us when we do cut to the booth. Sonny B, international superstar for the United Arab Emirates. So
Stunny B.
That's it. He's competed at the World Championships more than once. So he does have a lot of experience under his belt, and I think he's well established as well in the scene as being a top player.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. But on board with Tony JS now. Shot's going to go back towards Brain, who gets wiped out. Nolson is in a bit of trouble as well, as Tony not really able to do much, but the rest of his teammates are going to come in there. 3 kills do go down. Sonny B, we were just talking about him, he's the last guy alive. ASM 1 as well, which is always going to be an issue.
He's trying to find them now. Mellow, Veziok, and Tony JS. The HyperGames plays that he's got to find. It's a big ask. He's found one. And he's managed to escape as well. That bomb is going to go down, though, on A. So now, 2 kills to make and a defuse. Time ticks away. Remember, there is that defuse time as well. He doesn't have much to play with. And, I mean, with him being this far away, probably the best option is just to charge in and hope for the best. He needs to risk it.
On with Sonny B now. Yes, and I said he does have the SMG, so he just really needs to charge in. Oh, he's very unfortunate there. I think a little bit trigger happy. He is going to make the kill, though. And what's he going to choose to do?
Well, let's see. Oh, and it's really unfortunate, actually. You could see there he wanted to go for the defuse straight away. That's quite familiar. Sonny B tends to do that a lot. He goes for that shock defuse on the enemy team. It was unfortunate there. Tony JS's grenade connected with him. Sonny B wanted to continue to pre-aim to go for that kill, and I think, in all fairness to him, we probably would have got it against Tony. However, he knew that even if he did, the grenade would have killed him, so he had to continue that run, which worked to his detriment.
Tony played that well. I feel.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
kept
he
the
did really
grenades,
well.
kept the grenades for it, and Sonny, I like how he goes for the defuse very quickly, and it always causes problems for teams. And it did so on that occasion, but it was Tony Jess who gets off better.
We go now. Nolson just peering through the middle of the map now. It's always very interesting with this COD vision on. We don't know exactly what he could potentially hit if he continues to look there. The benefit of being a caster, I guess. Brain though, 7-2. Again, a stunning performance from him. VWS do still have that 3-2 lead.
On board with Brain. It seems as if A is going to be targeted a little bit more. He should be able to get this down.
Well, Brain's decided to make a decision here, and he has gone for the plan. It does go down now on A. All of Riskin's attention is focused on 4 players off VWS and the defuse with 38 seconds left to go. Finds one, does take a lot of damage though. Are VWS going to continue to challenge or back off?
I think they're just going to back off. There's one guy coming around the flank here. He's going to clean things up, and that's going to be 4-2 now to VWS.
Now on your screen is Damo at central. Nolson closest to us. Brain also in the center position. And it is, of course, Sunny B on the far right. Damo with that final kill there, 7-2, matching Brain, his counterpart. So great performances from them so far in this search and destroy. 2 rounds away from making this a 6-0 clean sweep against HyperGames.
Not too far off. And this feels like it's probably been the quickest game of the day, if anything. You know, every single game seems to have gone quite quickly. S&Ds roll out relatively fast. The hard points seem to be over before there's actually a chance for all the points to be scored. But Sonny B's got himself a great position. He does take down one, goes down, but his teammates will now know what is going on as B has become the target.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult now for VWS. And is he going to switch things up here? He's going to move towards B. No, he's continuing this push towards A. Got to be careful, though, because a lot of the players are all around this area. You can see just on the minimap there, nobody's near B at all. Tony, though, moves in on the bomb site. And he's going to make the decision now. And he has gone for this plan, but he does get shut down by Nolson.
Nolson picks up the second with a pistol as well, so fantastic work by him.
2 versus 3. And you can see the confusion. And Tony JS, I think it is, on the far left there, is just completely lost it at the mistake that's been made. It was a 2 versus 3 that HyperGames should have really won, but have unfortunately thrown away, making it 5-2. You just can't believe it.
I'm not too sure what's happened there. I think somebody got killed by Nolson with the pistol, and I mean, that's always a problem, but there you go. VWS are 1 round away from winning this series 6-0. Nolson, definitely my MVP from VWS this weekend, has had a fantastic shot again with a sniper.
It's a fortunate
Damo's going to go in there with, yes, I said a very fortunate grenade, but it's a 3 versus 2 in favor of VWS. Can they close this one out? Damo 9-2 though. He's had a very good series, but I feel as if overall Nolson's probably performed better than him over the weekend.
Oh yeah, and you know, I don't want to take anything away from any of the other guys on VWS. They've all done great, but we have to pick out our star players from each team, and he's going to be one of them for mine. Sonny B, though, just tucking himself away now, knowing that this is going to be challenged soon. It's a quick snipe there from Tony JS.
Well, Tony's going to have an opportunity to get this.
Could literally, is he going to? Yeah, I was going to say this. Oh, can he get it? Can he get it? No, they're only going to be able to kill him in time.
Got it.
Wow, and that's was such a strange strategy by VWS. No, neither of those players were anywhere near that bomb site to defend it.
Yeah, you know what you always say, when the bomb goes down, you need to be in sort of a close proximity of it, or
you
have
don't have
some.
To be sat on it, but yeah.
Yeah. They're like on the other end of the map.
Well, in any case, we'll continue with this game. HyperGames still with the chance of taking a map off VWS. Tony JS has managed to pick up that bomb. We see the long grenades going over there from Veziok. Also has the sniper in hand. One does connect. He's trying to find Sonny B, but he's just going to run away and play things safe.
Well, Riskin had made a kill on the Damo there. He really rushed into the building just next to B, and that caused all sorts of problems. Nolson again with another pistol kill. Riskin gets taken down, but Mello in a bit of a sticky spot there, trying with a sniper rifle. Got caught with his pants down, if anything. Sonny B does get the kill on the Veziok, and Tony JS answering back revenge on his teammate. 2 versus 2.
Now on your screens here, sweeping around the back, we can see Tony JS does have that bomb in hand. Doesn't really want to go anywhere with it though, very conscious of the fact that Nolson and Brain could be tucked away anywhere. Little does he know, it's actually quite open for a push on A. Nolson's going to have to get closer to it though to get some good defense work.
So, on board with Nolson. Let's go with one of the attackers. Let's
I was just seeing. I was curious if he was going to actually make a push at all there. So we'll see what's going on with the bomb
Face
carrier.
checks it pretty much, and he is going to get chased down and taken down. Tony Jess does take him, but Nelson could probably do with reloading that. Going to get the sniper shot just to him, but he has getting him off the bomb, and that's so unfortunate from Nelson. Actually, I think he must have just caught him in the leg.
How on earth? Ah, right, they switched. Okay, I thought that was the person that he sniped. I thought he'd got a snipe on and emptied up some pistol bullets as well. I was thinking to myself, how on earth has he survived? But yeah, no, that is going to be right to HyperGames, who are actually find their way back into this now and could sneak a victory. Like I say, they were so far down in this series and they've somehow come back into it. VWS still 1 round away, though.
On both. Nelson not using the sniper rifle this time round, but it's a big rush coming into B. What's going to go down? Lots of kills is the answer to that one. Vezioff does pick up a 2-piece. Nelson's the last man alive, and that's a very, very quick round. He's in a bit of a sticky situation again. I've used that word a lot this weekend, actually. Sticky.
Nelson.
Oh, is he actually going to be able to get the second one?
Nelson on his own. Nelson on his own now. 1 versus 2. Mello and Tony JS, the only players from HyperGames that are still alive. And Nelson spotted one. He revealed his location. Still goes for the challenge. And we are going to round 11, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see HyperGames are in hysterics there. I'm not sure exactly what it is that they're laughing at, but they're definitely finding something hilarious. Oh, I think I can see what it was. That was a strange kill. He kind of just darted out whilst going prone. It was like an exo slide through midair.
You remember the snaking on Black Ops 1?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was hell.
Oh, the snaking. That was always entertaining to view. Here we go, though. It all comes down to this. Can VWS close it out with a 6-0 sweep? Or we gonna see HyperGames get a consolation victory here in the final map, the final round? Who's gonna take first blood?
Nobody is ever yet. It's been a bit slower than the previous ones that we've seen won by both teams. And Mello gets the first blood on Nelson. So advantage over to HyperGames.
Mello just holding back now after getting that first blood. They want to be trying to trade these kills off. It's the best way to play Search and Destroy if you get the numerical advantage. Tony JS is going to find a kill as well. This is bad news for VWS, who could drop their final map here after having such a huge lead against HyperGames. Again, it won't matter in the Super 6 series because they will come out 5-1 on top if this is the case. They have managed to find a kill. It's not over just yet.
Well, 2 versus 3. Can they do it?
We will see.
It's going to be such a hard task, especially over a day as well.
There we go. Something's going to go down soon. Brain goes down, all up to Damo now. 1 versus 3. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And finally, we see HyperGames take a map. And that's going to be disappointing for VWS. What could have been a flawless 6-0 victory, whilst it has no real impact on the league or the standings for them. They will be a little bit frustrated at letting that slip, more out of pride than anything else. It will finish 5-1, so still, you know, a massive victory for them on the whole, but a 6-5 defeat to finish off their time here at the Gfinity Studios here. Got to be slightly disappointing for them.
Well, it's probably a bit more disappointing for HyperGames, if anything, because the way that they lost. You know, I mean, it was nice for them to win that S&D, but at the same time, the other 5 maps, excuse me, were pretty much a whitewash.
Yeah, and, you know, in all fairness, I thought that solo search and destroy was going to be the exact same. It certainly looked like it was going that way, but kind of out of nowhere, HyperGames got right back into it and really set up well. I thought that final round was going to go towards VWS as well. I thought they'd think to themselves, come on, guys, let's sort this out. We've been doing so well here. Let's not drop it here. But no, HyperGames played brilliantly, came out on top. Brain was saying in the pre-match interview, it's the search and destroy that his team needs to work on. I was surprised by that after what we saw from the first search and destroy between these two teams. But, you know, it really goes to show that they can be... You can easily drop a map from one single round of search and destroy.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens if they can actually fix their search and destroy, you know, because every other game mode looks pretty good. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're going to go and win any events next year unless something changes dramatically for them. But, you know, potentially they could get in there and get in amongst it. I'd love to see that happen for them because they're a good team. They seem like a good bunch of lads and they've played very well this weekend and will get themselves a very respectable finish here at the Gfinity Pro League. And that, I believe that's my last game, but you're staying on for the last one.
I am. I've got Millennium and IGI coming up next. I cannot wait. But before we get into that, I want to hear from the analysts and hear your breakdown of the series we just saw.
He said that with barely a trace of sarcasm, didn't he? He's good. He's good. That's why we like him. So, kind of a shame for VWS there, because although they won the game at a canter, they don't get the bragging rights of being able to say we only lost on a head-to-head because they lost that final map there. And to be fair to HyperGames, they were having a bit of a laugh and a joke towards the end. They don't seem to have been too upset by it. I thought they might be a little bit crestfallen and despondent.
No, I don't want to be fair about that, to be perfectly honest.
Let's not be fair then.
It's annoyed me more than anything because...
Imagine that. Bryce getting annoyed at something that doesn't really affect him at all.
They've come here, they've played poorly. They had an opportunity to at least get a bit of redeeming qualities in the last game and to take parts of it at the very most a joke. I'll be honest with you, HyperGames, your team looks like a joke at the moment. That's more of the joke in this scenario.
Bam. He's right down the line.
And that may be quite harsh, but I think it's quite apt right now. You're not looking like a top team at all. There's clearly something wrong with the squad. I would have liked to see them go full throttle against VWS, and to not do that, that team needs a change in at least attitude, if not a player or two.
Count Troutula, what do you think about that?
Panned out pretty much how I expected. I mean, battering from VWS. HyperGames managed to nick a map, and it wasn't necessarily because VWS played poorly in that last search. It was actually because HyperGames played pretty well. So I'll give them credit for that, but I have to agree with you. They were not good at all this weekend.
It was an opportunity to redeem
yourself. It was a good opportunity. It's not like VWS are invincible or anything like that. HyperGames finished third last season. Hasn't been a major difference in a team. Admittedly, I'd say one or two of their opening games, Mello wasn't here for the full start, which might have hindered them. They might not have the chemistry. He was on Millennium last season. So for me, I'm not really sure what the problem is. It seems to be a lot of teams have been misfiring lately. There's only one shining light of a team that has actually looked dominant from start to finish, and that's Millennium. And I don't really know what has been particularly going on with some of the teams. I know there's going to be a lot of changes coming in soon.
There will definitely be changes. There will definitely be changes. I would like to say
there's just a lot not going right for them. Maybe they've just... I think, in fairness, it's getting to that point of the game's lifespan where you start to look at other stuff. You've played this game to death. Obviously, the Black Ops 3 beta coming out recently, a lot of players were playing that. I think a lot of them were guilty for spending too much time on that game as well.
Yeah,
maybe not
that may be a factor.
Properly, but it hasn't been the best Call of Duty from a lot of teams this weekend.
No, I mean, considering this maybe some of the last lands that some of these play this year, there's not an awful lot long left before we change all up. I said the VWS have looked fairly good this weekend. HyperGames have looked the opposite of good. I mean, who have they played? Spirit Gaming, who they should most of the time would have beat. We all picked them to beat. They didn't. Poor show from them. Epsilon, but an Epsilon that has been misfiring themselves. An Epsilon that is probably the weakest there's been an Epsilon squad for a long time. So... it's for HyperGames have not had a good weekend when they finally get onto LAN, and you got to ask yourself, where's the issue? Where's the problems? Because that is one of the ones you say that definitely needs a change. I actually find it worse than IGI, who came in as massive underdogs. HG is supposed to be the best team in France. Yeah. Whereas IG, they've come in and they willfully admit it goes, we've had such roster issues. 12 players in one season have rotated through IGI. There's their excuse, at the very least. There's no chemistry, and we point that out as well. I'm kind of interested to see where HyperGames go from here, because they have to go somewhere. I mean, at the moment, the only way is up. And, I'm being harsh, but I'm being harsh because you have to be. What do you say about that performance?
I think it is a fair assessment. But to end this segment on a positive note, obviously VWS, things looking good for them. They're on an upward trajectory. They are saying they're going to stay together. They're not going to be involved in roster mania, which is great. So again, it's quite conceivable, depending on where the chips fall, when roster mania inevitably happens, that they could be a top UK team, right?
They're definitely up there with the best of them. For me, their hardpoint is extremely scary at times, especially retreat hardpoint. That map is scary to play them on. Their uplink, it seems like they're still trying to find out how they want to play it. I've seen them play passive before. It's worked to an extent. I've seen them play aggressive before. It's worked to an extent. So they're still trying to fill that one out. The search and destroy is solid. Maybe could do with a little bit of tweaking. Obviously, losing that last map, they were up 5-2 in the end, or 5-3, and they threw that one away. So there's obviously some tweaking they could do there. They might have just been like, you know what, we're taking a foot off the pedal, one round away from victory, just like, whatever. It's one of those things. Lost it, didn't really mean that much in the grand scheme, but I'm sure deep down they'll be a bit like,
maybe we should have,
probably should have won that one. Could have won that one, but
still, I mean, that's nitpicking. I
mean,
it's
nitpicking.
They've had
what we're here for, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they've had a great event overall, and they've been one of the few teams really that have come here and haven't been an enigma. You know, I mean, we know exactly what they're about. We can say good things about them.
You can kind of tell the level they're at as well,
Yeah.
and it's quite refreshing because we're not saying, oh, they're misfiring, or there's a lot of mistakes here. I think the greatest thing for me about VWS right now is not this game, it's next game. If they do stick, and I really, really hope and I pray to the gods they actually do, because it's so rare, the next game when they have a good opportunity to start with everybody else and really develop the strategies, but they're probably just a little bit behind in terms of the way they're looking at the game in certain points. And once that's polished up, it'll be amazing, but obviously they need probably to wait for the new game to do that.
And remember, gung-ho is all-powerful, as Damo has proven this weekend. That's all I've got to say.
Excellent. Well, a great time to take it to a break, I think. Thanks a lot for your thoughts, guys. We're going to be back in 8 minutes with the final game of the day. It's Millennium versus IGI Esports. I don't think you want
can't
to
even
miss
say
this
it with
one.
a straight
There
face.
is an air of silliness descending over Gfinity. We will see you soon.
Wait, you're not on it? I'm on it. 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 Where are you at?
Interesting choice it would be, but he doesn't pull it. Gets it. There's one. Oh, it's
no,
going to be
he's
close.
good. He gets the second one. Clay, the MVP with the 2 snipes. All smiles, high fives coming from attached. The birthday boy able to pick it up.
Wow, and look at that, the accuracy there. And I mean, you know, in those close quarters.
They didn't really have ball control. They were defending the flag over and over again. And another thing with doing it, eventually you will get overwhelmed in that position. The other thing will be able to eventually break it, maybe get a 2 meter touch.
Oh my goodness. There's the 4-2. Can he pick it up? He gets it. The entire team at TCM taken out in a matter of seconds. Attach, man, he is young. He is still developing as a player, but God.